Did you know that the Hebrews and the Levites pushed the hardest? What do I mean by that? Well, ever heard of the theory that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree? What if I told you that tree was not what we thought it was? Picture this. You've always believed your family came from a small, isolated village. But one day, you discover some old letters suggesting that you might be related to a royal family in a completely different country. Shocking, right? That's the kind of surprise Merlin Stone had when diving into the historical data. She's the author of When God Was a Woman, and she suggests that you brace yourself because the Hebrews might have unexpected roots. Yes, we've always considered the same Hebrews an isolated and independent group. But imagine the shock of discovering that you might be related to a distant cousin you never knew existed. That's how Stone felt when she uncovered potential connections between the Hebrews and the Indo-Europeans. And here's the kicker. The name Abraham, the patriarch of the Hebrew tribes, might be related to the Brahmins of India, like finding out your surname is a royal title in another land. And Yahweh, the Old Testament's name for God, well, it might have come from the Sanskrit word Yahweh, meaning ever-flowing. It's like discovering your family's motto originates in a completely different culture. Stone's theory even suggests that the Levites, one of the Hebrew tribes, might be related to the Indo-Europeans. It's as if you discovered a branch of your family tree that you never knew existed, and she explains, quote, "Certainly the Hebrew people have never been thought of as Indo-European, and by the time they were settled in Canaan, after their stay in Egypt, the majority of them may have been Semitic. Yet there is one group that stands apart from the Hebrews, and yet it is counted as one of their tribes. These are the priestly Levites. This is surely the most controversial hypothesis yet suggested, but at the risk of overwhelming religious, emotional, and academic reactions, I suggest that the Levites may have in some way been related to the Indo-Europeans, most especially the Luwians, Luvians, Luwites, or Luvites, as the various translations will have it. Despite the almost universally accepted belief that the Hebrews were always a totally Semitic people, there are many curious pieces of evidence that suggest that their connections with the Indo-Europeans should at least be considered in this context." Unquote. Of course, these are all hypotheses, like a detective piecing together a complex puzzle, but Stone's research opens up a fascinating new world of possibilities, doesn't it? Let's keep our minds open to these new perspectives. After all, like a river, history is ever flowing and always ready to surprise us. Okay, learn more about Chapter 1 in my book, We Aren't Going Back, A History of Women's Social Progress Over 200 Years. See you in the next video.